Tonight, Africa Eye exposes a sex trade network that traffics women from Africa to India.
The first day I went there, I looked and I saw so many girls. And what you do is you sit down and then a man has to come and choose.
Using hidden cameras, we reveal the fixer who hides behind a cloak of respectability. We have evidence against you. We have evidence of you saying that you're going to process women, that they're going to come from Kenya to India for sex work.
You can show me the evidence.
The people who traffic the women and force them into sexual slavery. And the African sex workers who are treated like merchandise and live and die outside the protection of the law. All this told through the testimony of one brave woman, Grace, who was trafficked to India and agrees to go undercover for Africa Eye.
I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. And I want this whole thing to stop.
We go inside a sex trafficking network that brings women to India to satisfy the demands of African men. My name is Nyasha Kadandara, a journalist and filmmaker. I produced the Africa Eye series, Sex and the Sugar Daddy. Grace was one of the women featured.
I'm Grace. I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm a dancer, and I'm an actress. I want to become famous and have a good life. What matters the most is my baby's future. I don't want her to go through what I went through.
The series investigated the trend of young Kenyan women seeking male sponsors to fund their lifestyles. As the series aired, Grace was drawn into a string of tempting messages in a friend's WhatsApp group. They were looking for dancers and hostesses for tourists.
It was a WhatsApp group, and it was my friend's group. In that group, most of us were dancers, models, or video vixens. So that girl posted in the group that she's looking for someone who is interested in working in India. If you work in India, there's good money. Within few months, you have your land. Hearing that it's good money, I went for it. I decided, okay.
Grace was linked to a Kenyan woman in India who would later become her madam.
So she helped me get the passport and the visa and the air ticket she sent me on email, and then I came to India.
At the airport in New Delhi, Grace was met by a woman known as Goldie, a madam working in the local sex industry. She took her to her home in Governpuri, South Delhi. I hadn't heard from Grace in a while, but when she texted back, I could tell something was wrong. No passport? 270,000 rupees in debt? That's nearly $4,000. I needed to go to India and investigate how women like Grace were being trafficked into the sex trade. I met Grace in a market in a safe part of Delhi. She wanted to reveal what she had been going through as a warning to others. Grace expected to be working with tourists.
You're receiving a tourist, you're showing them around. That's what I understood. But prostitution for me is something that I had said an ex to. I was even telling, in my prayers, I was telling God, let it be the last thing I'll ever want to do in my life.
Grace agreed to film undercover to expose an underworld of sexual exploitation where women are trapped, traded, and abused.
It's okay, I'm good to go.
All right, that's fine. You look nervous.
What? I look nervous?
Yeah.
I'm good. Fine. Serious.
She would start by taking us to Governpuri and the flat where she was taken to when she first arrived. Goldie's brothel. For 5 months, Grace lived in this room with 4 other trafficked women. Men would visit the flat daily.
Very many times we'd bring clients in the house, or you go to hotels. If one of us had a client in the room, the rest of us would sleep in the couch in the sitting room and wait for the one who is at the room to finish their stuff, and then we'd go back to sleep.
Here, you can see a client passing payment to one of Goldie's trafficked women. And then they leave. The head of this household is Goldie, the woman who trafficked Grace. But she doesn't act alone.
Princess is my madam's sister. It's like they are sisters because they've grown up together. We respect the both of them.
Kenyan madams, Goldie and Princess, controlled every bit of Grace's life in India. Nothing sums up Grace's life of exploitation more than the debt book she used to record payments to Goldie.
It's the list of how I paid my debt and the amount that I used to pay and dates that I used to pay. If I give money, Princess writes, Goldie writes. Everybody writes.
It's a record of repayments for the money Goldie claims she spent bringing Grace to India.
Let's say I've given 3,000 today. I write 3,000. Princess writes 3,000. Goldie writes 3,000. Yeah. When I look at all these numbers, I remember the guys that I went with. I can even almost remember all of them. Just by looking at this book like this, it just reminds me of everybody. The first client I got, he just made me hate India. He's even now threatening me, I'm going to beat you up. He wants to give me 500 instead of 1,000. It even hurt me, you know, so.
Looking at Grace's debt book, it was heartbreaking to see that on Christmas Day, she came home with 9,000 rupees. That means she slept with 9 men on Christmas Day, and her family had no idea when she texted them to say, Merry Christmas.
I was really paying my debt first. I was really trying my best so that I start helping my family. You just try your best, you give the money.
Immediately after Grace arrived, Goldie confiscated her passport. The trap had been sprung. Goldie told her it was for safekeeping, but it's the traffickers' signature tactic. It stops their victims running away until they pay back the money the traffickers claim they are owed. Grace owes 270,000 rupees. That's approximately 3,800 US dollars. But is the debt all it seems or just another money-making scam? Online, on average, an air ticket is $500, visa $80, passport $40. Even with living costs, the madam's profit is at least $3,000. That's exploitation. When Africa Eye looked into the payment details for Grace's airfare, we discovered it was purchased using a stolen identity. It turned out Goldie had used an internet scammer in Delhi to source the ticket. The traffickers paid nothing for the flight and then demanded Grace pay a vastly exaggerated bill. In 6 months, Goldie trafficked 5 women, making almost $15,000 in profit. For the sex workers under Goldie's roof, everything is about money and control.
We had a curfew. You have to be home by 11. If I get out of the house and I've just gone to the shop 5 minutes later, where are you? You have to come back home. If not that, whoever you're with, let him give you money for one shot. 1,000, I'm counting.
A shot or kifupi is slang for sex with a client. Goldie's work rate was pitiless. Day and night, her victims were expected to be earning money. In the evenings, her women were turned out to solicit men in local pickup bars known as kitchens.
Kama ni nini fatu ni kutu mzuri wote huko malizana kifupi kutokaje tu huko kama mtete
Many neighborhoods in southern Delhi are home to Africans from across the continent. They go to the kitchens to socialize, and the men can find women to sleep with. Grace took us to Paris and Carol Kitchens in her neighborhood, Tuklakabad.
Yeah, just ring the bell. We're going to open.
The kitchens are illegal bars. There's high security and CCTV on the lookout for unwanted guests and prying eyes.
The first day I went there, I looked and I saw so many girls. So many girls. And what you do is you sit down and then a man has to come and choose. He has to come and pick you, like the way you go to the market and pick potatoes. He has to come and say, I like this one is the one I'm going with.
While filming, Grace is approached by a former client. While we were in Paris' kitchen, we saw Grace's madams, Goldie and Princess, watching over one of their girls as she looks for clients. Grace can't forget her first night in the kitchens.
Usually the madam is the one who takes a new girl to the kitchen. But maybe I went with my sisters, and then when I was going to the washroom, someone just stopped me and asked me, how much? I told the guy, wait, let me come back, I don't understand you. I went back to my friend and asked her. He's asking me how much. What do I tell him? She told me, is it for a night or for a short? Then that's now when it hit me, this is really what you're getting yourself into. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you want to pay me 1,000? 1,000, okay, like, okay, no problem, 1,000. I have to sleep with how many men till I get to 270,000?
During our investigation, we identified at least 15 kitchens across 7 neighborhoods in South Delhi, where scores of African women are forced to sell their bodies. While we filmed undercover in Tughlakabad district, Paris and Carol kitchens was suddenly shut for 4 days without explanation. Within hours, messages started appearing on a local community WhatsApp group. They were tagged Eddie, the chairman. Chairman Eddie seemed linked to a group called ASCA, the All Indian Nigerian Students and Community Association. That rang a bell. We had filmed election posters for ASCA stuck to the doors of some of the kitchens. Online and across cities in India, ASCA has a public profile as a nationwide community group offering social activities to connect and support African students studying abroad. Then we found the circular listing ASCA officials endorsed, it seems, by the Nigerian High Commission. And there was Eddie, named as the task force chairman of Tughlakabad, along with his contact details. But Grace knew him for a very different role in the community.
Yes, this was chairman. The ASCA that I know is protecting the street. I didn't think they are people who want to be known by the public.
Why? So the chairman is at the top of everyone, right? He's above everyone.
If there's anybody who is above him, then they don't talk like him, because him is so bossy.
Eddie seemed to be controlling things, and later he bragged that he had closed the kitchens as a public demonstration of his authority.
It's okay. The most important thing is showing remorse. Nobody is too special.
Yeah.
The most important thing, why I closed those kitchens before, why I opened it, because they show remorse. They are begged for almost 5 days every day, calling, begging. So I realized they are showing remorse. We are not God, we are human beings, no matter the power and things we have.
Yeah.
We let it go.
Before the kitchen is opened, they must pay. They must pay fine. And there are a lot of fines that are usually paid. Like maybe you're told, if you break this rule, you pay fine. If you break this rule, you pay fine.
So was Eddie trying to clean up the kitchens, or was something else going on? The answer to that comes later. And the shutdown? It was but a brief respite for women like Grace.
Once I came home, I had gone for work somewhere and I had slept with so many men. I came home with 10,000. And I was feeling, no, I wasn't okay. I was not fine, like I was bleeding, and I wasn't on my periods. So I told her, no, I can't even sitting down is a problem, sleeping is a problem. When I go to pee, I'm feeling a lot of pain. And I called Goldie. I told her that there's a certain guy coming. And my madam, imagine, she forced me to go with that guy. You have to go and work. I was just like, I just went with him, and the whole process, I was just feeling so much pain. I was just crying and so I still had to pretend that I'm okay, even though I was not. So I couldn't even pretend again. It was... I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You don't have to apologize.
I couldn't even pretend again. The pain was too much, and I was thinking, who is going to even have pity on me, at least? Who is going to...
The United Nations defines sex trafficking as the recruitment and transportation of people using deception and coercion for the purpose of prostitution and sexual exploitation. The reality is brutal. Grace showed us some of the images and voice messages from a closed Indian network for trafficked sex workers. And once again, Aska is mentioned. Grace sent me this voice note. Her friend recorded it. And in order to protect her identity, I'm going to tell you what she's saying.
The man on the other side of the phone call seems very angry. He's telling her that it's between her and Aska. They're the ones who will mediate her dispute with her madam over her passport and her debt. She sounds so desperate, and she's asking them, how much do I owe you? How much do I owe you? She wants her passport back. It's a very violent conversation.
She is saying, you already beat me up, and now you're threatening to kill me. Some of the messages were from distressed women who had been sold off to a client in another city for life.
Alikuja kwa mwanaume? Ndugu zangu na kuna sijafanyiwa. Mimi Tu anasema anasema ndafinda minus for kitabu.
Sadly, sometimes the messages brought devastating news. A video of a trafficked woman who took her life. And another of a sex worker murdered in a brothel. Shockingly, some of the comments posted refer not to loss of life, but loss of profit.
Watu mwenyewe bado ndo amaliza hata deni la madamu wake maskini. Madamu mwenyewe akapigiwa simu.
As well as the risk of physical harm, the psychological pressure takes a toll.
First, when I came to India especially, I was taking too much alcohol because I wasn't used to the new life, and also it wasn't easy to hustle when you're sober. You know, when you're going to sleep with someone that you've not interacted before, you don't know each other, and the only thing that is taking you there is just, you know, sex. It's so difficult, especially when you're sober. Like, you're just watching yourself do this. It's not easy. I didn't want to be myself when I'm doing that. I wanted to be someone else. Like, I'm not in this world completely. I'm just not here. So I was drinking a lot.
Grace has had calls from friends in Kenya tempted to come to India to make money.
Mbona una sound ni kama unakuja the same way I came? Why are you sounding like that? Mimi sitaki ukuje, usikuje. Ma usikuje, don't come to India. Don't. Please. If you really love me, don't come to India, please. Hivyo venye unaniambia hivyo ndivyo hata mimi niliambiwa. Pia mimi niliambiwa hivyo. Nikaambiwa nalipa 270,000 Kenyan shillings. Kufika nililipa 400,000 Kenyan shillings. Mom, si hivyo ndivyo kuko. Mom, si ni biashara wanafanya. Unaambiwa wangu unaenda kufanya kazi nyingine, unafika unapata unafanya umalaya, mom. Sikudanganyi. Sawa, tutaongea mom. I told her, I hope you're not coming to do what I'm doing. She said no. Because me, I already told them. The moment I reached and then I saw what I'm doing, I told them, well, it's not what you are thinking. When I come, my friends also want to join me. So I have to tell them the truth.
Grace got in trouble for another phone call like this. She told a friend not to come to India after she connected her to a local madam. She complained, and Grace was summoned to a meeting with ASCA chairman Eddie. Eddie orders her to provide another woman to replace the one the sex trade network has lost.
I want you to do something for me. From what you're telling me now, you said you have friends, and it's like you still have more. On this one, check the amount. Let her calculate the amount. It's a big loss.
Not now. You know, I've lost my contacts. That's the problem. I forgot my Facebook password. I had to start another Facebook.
You start another Facebook to search for your friends. I'm giving you the end of the month. Search for one and for release. Stop telling people India is bad. You're not their creator and you're not their destiny. That Kenya that is hard, people are still making it there too. Convince one for yourself. Convince one for her.
And Eddie is keen to remind Grace he has brought other trafficked women into line, such as Purity, who fled her Madam Sonia.
Sometimes it's like that. You know Purity for Sonia. Somebody else did the passport, did everything, booked tickets. She came to airport, she ran back. We later caught her. She's now in Sonia's house. She has to pay money they use in processing paper. She has to pay Sonia.
Grace wasn't surprised she had been summoned by Eddie.
You take any case to him, you buy something, you give him some money. so that he can help you. They go pay him, and then he makes sure that person is not in peace. The asker is like that team that when a new girl is brought and the madam is having a problem with that girl, they complain to the asker team.
So it seems Aska is just a badge of public respectability for Eddie.
Central Secretariat.
Underneath is a man at the very heart of a sex trade network linked to Kenya, and locally he is known as a sex trafficker.
And he's trafficked a lot of girls. All Eddie's girls, all of them, they are Kenyans.
After missing the deadline for bringing a friend, Grace has to face Eddie. The flat at which Eddie fixes the meeting is a working brothel, home to another group of trafficked Kenyan sex workers. He sees a way for Grace to resolve matters by trafficking 2 women, one to compensate the disappointed madam, and a second to start her own business. Otherwise, another cash debt will fall on her.
We raise some cash, we compensate her. Oh. Is that okay?
Now how much will I compensate her with?
We check what she has spent, then we see what we can do. I will not suggest you pay everything. Maybe we can cut it into 2 or even into 3. You understand now? But at least to show remorse that it was not intentional.
Okay.
All right? You understand what I said now?
Grace is now under orders to find a new woman or pay a fine. And then comes an escape of sorts. Grace has finally paid off her debt and takes back her passport. But that brings a new predicament.
After I finished my debt, they didn't even know whether to be happy or sad. I wasn't free because in the first place, I'm living in this foreign land, expired. I have to run away from police every day. I don't even know if I can go to the embassy.
Grace arrived on a 60-day tourist visa that has now expired. She's now an illegal immigrant, subject to arrest, deportation, and a fine to the Indian government for overstaying.
And then I also have to work for my own little saving. And that time that I'm working, I'm still paying rent here in India. And I'm still also supporting my family in Kenya, because I have a daughter. So that makes my days in India more and more and more.
For many trafficked women, life after forced sex work means accepting you're trapped and becoming a madam yourself. This is how the network grows, generation upon generation of exploitation in a family tree of corruption.
There's a woman who brings you to India, who is your Indian mom. And then there's the one who brought her is your grandmother. The others that she brings along with you are your sisters. The name might seem friendly, like mom, but it's just for like identification. This is someone's girl.
How are you?
I'm fine. The same way I'd call Goldie Mom, I call Princess Mom. Because when I stepped in India, I was shown that those are my 2 moms. And Anita, she's my grandmother.
The terms of endearment are actually all about control. Anita brought Princess to India for sex work, and so is the grandmother, the matriarch in this fake family gathering of trafficked Kenyan women.
Full house. Leo mpaka Anita amekuja shusho yangu. I'm telling you. Mugonge.
The name mom, it didn't mean like she treats you like a mom. All she cares about is the money that you have to give to her.
Africa Eye asked Grace to approach both Goldie and Eddie to seek advice on becoming a madam. We wanted to see if the ambition for new recruits would reveal more about how the network operates. But it was not without risk.
At first, I was feeling really nervous. I wasn't sure I really wanted to do this because I didn't know exactly if I do this, it would cost me so much. But the more we do it, the more I'm getting used to it, and I'm also I'm becoming stronger, and and I'm becoming more confident. I know the people that setting up. Yeah, I know them, and I've stayed with them, and I know if I do this, am I going to be at peace? I'm not doing the wrong thing. I'm just exposing what happens. I'm just exposing what is hidden.
Now that Grace has paid her debt, she could become a madam like Goldie. She pays her a visit, and while braiding her hair, asks Goldie for tips on how to traffic women.
Alafu sasa juu unaelewa mama mimi sijawahi ile tuzo conflict like sasa akikuja na simtanisaidia kumwongelesha
Definitely tutamsaidia. Akikaa mtu hivi siku ile anakaa na tunaita tunakaa,
alafu
passport akikaa unachukua passport yake na unamwekea for safety.
Sawa.
Which is true. Just in case. Unamwekea passport yake.
Sawa.
But treat today kwa so unajua tu venye.
Unajua. Sawa.
Ili tunaenda kupata mtu passport atamshughulikia atamsaidia passport. So wewe utamwekea kila kitu.
Sawa.
Grace asks how much it will cost.
So utaweza passport. Itafute kitu kama utaenda kukonfirmia vizuri.
Sawa.
But process yote kama hana passport itafute kitu kama
80,000.
Goldie promises to give Grace the contact details of a Kenyan travel agent who will help her traffic women.
Sawa, so utanipatia basi hiyo namba.
Goldie's contact is the same individual in Nairobi who helped put Grace on a plane to India. A trafficker's travel agent who provides false medical documents and smooths out visa arrangements. Grace is revealing a well-established, well-organized criminal network moving African women to India. To expose the vicious cycle, we asked Grace to go right to the top with her story of wanting to be a madam.
Hello. How are you? There's something I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, I want to bring my girl. So I wanted to meet you and ask you. Okay, I'll call you while I'm leaving. Okay. I'm scared. Of course I'm scared. Of course I can't. I'm just nervous. I'm so nervous. Because it's a very... Yes, I don't know how to describe him, but I'm just so nervous. This time around, I'm not going to do it for me. I'm doing it for someone else. I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. And I want this whole thing to stop. Hi.
Grace is on her way to Eddie, the overseer of the sex trade in Tutlakabad, to uncover more of his role in the importation of women to India.
Hello, I'm at the door. Okay, they open. Okay. Sasa sweetheart. Ulikuwa umelala? Pole nimekuamsha. Nimepotea. Imali ya mpya. Sasa ndio tumetoka wanisho. Kulikuwa umekuja niletee baba yako. Juu kuna nini tunataka? Nilikuwa nimekuja kuongea na baba yako. Sasa nikaona nisikuje kama nimesimama.
Yeah.
How are
Tell
you?
me, I'm good.
Hmm?
You have 2 girls or 1 girl?
I only got one.
I personally support everybody who wants to grow. But what I come against, what I work against is those who want to spoil the streets.
Eddie offers to lead the way and help Grace traffic her first sex worker.
You can process the girl, because you're just having your first girl.
Okay.
If you have gotten a girl before, I would have seen you give this one. But since you have not gotten any girl before, I'll process this one. As she arrived, we source for a girl again.
Eddie is offering to break the law and help traffic a Kenyan woman to New Delhi for Grace.
Okay, so what's the process of bringing a girl? You know, I don't know anything.
Bringing a girl, I don't know. Are you using agents?
I don't know. I
don't
don't
give
give
money
money
to
to
the
agents.
girl. No,
Oh,
you
to
give
the
money to
girl.
the
I
girl.
give to agent.
You know, as much as the person is coming to Nairobi, agents will do the passport, even the birth certificates. They process that.
Okay, thanks.
Since you have done the right thing by coming to talk, I will talk to them.
Okay.
You help them to become rich, they help you to add to what you have. That is all. Why those guests are coming.
To leave on good terms, Grace pays the chairman a customary 2,000 rupees.
Little I have. Thank you so much for the advice and for the help also. Thank you. Okay. One person that scared me so much in that India was that chairman guy. Right from the time I left the house with that camera, I was so nervous, I was so scared. I thought he will notice. Every day, Africans come in from Tanzania, from Uganda, from Kenya. Every day I hear there's a new girl who has come. So I just want my fellow girls out there to know, before you go to any country, be sure what you're going to do there.
At the end of our investigation, we needed to confront the chairman. our producer posed as Grace's wealthy boyfriend. He asked Eddie to meet for a business lunch.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine. Did you have a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Are you?
I'm very good, very good. So I wanted us to meet for lunch, if you're okay for that, so in Defense Colony Market.
Eddie. Hi, how are you? Good. My name is Nyasha Kadandara. I'm from BBC Africa Eye. We have evidence against you and we want to talk to you about the sex trade that you are involved in.
Sex trade?
Yes, the sex trade that you are involved in. Women are coming from Kenya to India for sex work. They're forced to work in the kitchens that you run.
I don't run kitchens. Listen to me. I am the chairman of all Africans in India. All right?
Does ASCA know what you're doing?
This is my
So you're a proud member of ASCA, so ASCA knows that you are entrapping and exploiting women for sex
I don't
work.
do that. All right?
Are you sure?
Sure, 100%.
We have evidence against you. We have evidence of you saying that you're going to process women, that they're going to come from Kenya to India for sex
You
work.
can show me the evidence.
We do. We have it right here. This
Let me
is
see.
a right of reply for you to come and respond to BBC. We look forward to hearing your response.
All right.
I cannot believe he actually had an ASCA card and he was just so proud. He'd be like, yes, I'm a part of ASCA. There's nothing wrong with anything that I've done. And he just denied it. He didn't even say anything. Africa Eye contacted Eddie Anide 3 times to ask him to explain his role in the sex trade of women from Kenya to India. He offered no substantive response to our allegations, but denied any involvement in trafficking and insists the kitchens were closed by the local police. The BBC also contacted ASCA officials in Delhi. The organization said, "We work in the interests of Nigerian citizens in India. Mr. Eddie Anide is our task force chairman in Tughlakabad, but his duties are strictly defined in the ASCA constitution, which in no way condones illegal activity." We contacted the High Commission, and this is what they said. The Nigerian High Commission recognizes ASCA. We work with them because it's more practical to provide consular assistance to the many Nigerians who live in India with their cooperation. However, the relationship is strictly in compliance with Indian and Nigerian laws, and also with their own constitutions, none of which endorses criminal activity such as sex trafficking.
Now the only thing I want right now is my freedom.
After nearly a year, it's time for Grace to leave India and go home to her family. Africa Eye enabled Grace to resolve her immigration status and pay the fines for overstaying her tourist visa. Finally, she's free. Africa Eye also asked the 3 madams, Goldie, Princess, and Anita, to answer our allegations of trafficking and brothel keeping. They too made no response.
It feels so good to be back, and I'm so happy.
I am in Kenya. I'm so happy. How does it feel to be home?
So good, so good. I don't know. I can't believe I'm still in Kenya. I can't still. I think I'm going to believe when I sleep and wake up tomorrow. Okay, let me hide behind this car.
Did you see her reaction? I'm sorry.